Hey there, Hutch here, back with another review of a self-care tool that I actually use myself. This one is primarily for the neck, but can also be used for the limbs. And it's available on Amazon. You can look at my self-care wish list that I keep public for everyone so that you can easily find the exact tool that I have in my arsenal and that I use often. So once again, I am a orthopedic massage therapist. I'm also a personal trainer. I've been coaching for over 20 years, and movement is part of my life. And every person that has a body, I would say it's part of your life as well, whether you recognize it and treat it or not. So in my practice with my clients, I'm always encouraging them to do homework, right? To take care of themselves at home, to put some effort in, because I don't want them dependent on my work to feel decent, right? Even for somebody who can afford to come in for body work every single week, that is not a realistic solution. Now, if someone's dealing with some chronic pain, more advanced medical conditions, sure. But for the most part, doing it ourselves is going to improve our awareness of the quality of pain, where it is precisely, if it's one shoulder or present in both shoulders, but I'm just not aware that it's mirrored on the other side. Right? There's so many factors. And then you actually have the tools, the autonomy to make yourself feel better. And I have to be reminded it's so easy as human beings to be efficient through our day, do only what's a fire in the moment, and not pay attention to some of the more maintenance-based things. So this little series on self-care tools, how to use them, not really a review, but I'm just going to show you the things that I use and recommend to people how to use them. And then people can refer back to these when they've got some time and need some self-care. So once again, I don't know, neck massager. I don't know the real name of it. The one thing that's tricky with it, you can see the finger indentations here. So my hand's going to go on it upwards like that. And then I hook it around my neck. Okay. So this is how it's going to look behind me. And as I'm doing things, I'm spreading, I'm squeezing, right? I can leverage really, really well, right? If you imagine how I'm applying this here. And then also I'm going to show you a lot of times where I'm just going to hold and do some neck movements and using this as kind of a fulcrum. Okay. So I'm going to turn around so you can see where I'm at. Some of this will not be super clear without being able to touch and to really feel the location, but I hope that this will at least get you started finding some tender spots, being able to treat some of your own trigger points, and get relief for your neck. So again, it kind of feels a little backwards. So one thing I want to point out with our cervical spine, right? So there are actually 7 vertebrae, okay? Cervical vertebrae. Then it goes into thoracic, lumbar, sacral. Okay, so they usually have like a C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. T, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 12, right? So C7 is actually below your shoulder line. Okay, and if you just reach back here right now yourself, it's going to be the most prominent vertebrae that you feel. I like to kind of think of like a stegosaurus, and so this is the most pointy part of my spikes. And then C1 is actually up above the base of the skull. So you're not going to be able to palpate that separately because it is all the way up in there. And we typically say that C2 is that first one that you can actually feel. So C1 and 2 are really important. A lot of movements happen there. And there are ways to work on those, primarily getting into the occipitals and even some of the muscles that line our skull. So those things are doable, and this tool will actually help some of that. So, again, you can just squeeze, right? And notice my hand movements as well as what's happening in the back. I like to twist a lot, kind of working on the fascia. And then moving my neck separate from the device, or moving the device separate from my neck. All of that feels quite lovely. Of course, if you find a spot on one side or the other and you want to stick with it, right, you want that amount of pressure to be firm, but you want to be able to hold a conversation. You want to be able to breathe. You want to be able to focus on things with your eyes. If you're seeing red, you're seeing black, you're closing your eyes, you're wincing your face, you're holding your breath, it's too much. And you're just going to create more stress and trauma in the body. Okay? So just take half a step back. Okay? Your results will come much easier, and all the adjunct benefits will pay off in the long run, right? So the other thing I'll show you here is I want to kind of show you the depth, right? So I'm grabbing kind of wide here, and I'm pinching, but I'm not going to be able to pinch those two balls all the way together, right? There's just too much tissue in there, okay? So if we say that that is a level 3, okay? And then if I remove it and kind of take a smaller bit of skin here, okay, I still want some of the muscle and tissue, and I can just about get these together, and it's really, really pinching hard. Okay, that might be a level 2. And then, again, removing it and kind of just staying superficial. Okay, so just on the skin, and you may be surprised how good it feels just to kind of shear the superficial layers. Okay, I can definitely get these to touch, kind of pinchy, but it does give you a real different feel than, say, level 3 here. Okay, and so just play with those. Just know that you have those options, as well as moving down and up. We can even come up into the skull here, letting our head fall forward, and just kind of squeeze and let it naturally come together and slide away. That's really nice tactile. But say that you feel, a spot, maybe on this right side, it's really, really tender right there. So what I might do is apply some pressure with my right hand, and not with my left, just enough so it's sticking there. And then I'm going to try and turn or bend into that sensation. Okay, just putting a little more emphasis on that spot. I'm breathing, and then I'm just exploring, right? And as I do this, I have all kinds of sensations in my ear, in my neck. I can feel some resonance in my throat. So just noticing that, exploring it, right? Maybe I change the location of the pressure, and then I can kind of come back to equal pressure both sides and see how that movement feels. Okay. Also, we can come up just behind the jaw and the ears, and this area can be sensitive, but also, oh, so good to relieve some of that tension. And for the most part, I'm just letting these balls friction against my natural oils in my skin. If it's pulling, you can certainly put some oil or, just lotion, whatever, if that would feel better to you. Okay, I'll give you some more side view, right? We don't want to go in front here. There's kind of this muscle line, and you could almost see it in your peripheral vision. I don't want to work this area, okay? You can even tell in my voice, it's putting some pressure on some different muscles, and then also arteries, airway, lymph, nerves, all those things, okay? So this diagonal line, which is actually a muscle, your SCM muscle, you can see it pop out, right? Look at it on this side. We don't want to work in front of that, okay? So use that as your guide. Also, just on the sides, just behind it, you might have some discomfort. So don't be leaving this in a spot too long, okay? It's real important that you can feel the difference between pain, stop, and discomfort that has a purpose to alleviate a symptom, okay? And the symptom might not always be where you're pushing. It can refer up into your head, your eye, down your chest, down your arm. And that's okay. That's a normal occurrence, okay? That doesn't mean that you're pinching a nerve off or anything. So yeah, so it's kind of like a reverse thigh master, right? Like I'm using my arms to do this. I can twist, you know, certainly I could break this if I wasn't careful. So I don't do too much spreading. But again, I did say you can use it on your arm. You might use a tabletop to balance the other side, or even your leg, and then you can still leverage, right? Some of these, you just pin it and then do some movement, and you can get some relief that way, instead of having to squeeze, pinch, whatever, with your own hands, tiring those out. Use this leverage, use the tools of this, and just get those spots kind of worked out. So I think that's about it that I want to say with this guy. You can also get a little bit into upper traps. Again, you might lean against the wall to kind of pinch this upper area, which is so problematic for us, right? So you can play with it. It is, I believe, $17, which I think is super affordable. Neck stuff can be so hard, right? Because you want more pressure. It is very hard to work on it ourselves. Like even if I just did trigger point work here, like my whole arm is fatiguing. And I'm still having to hold my head up and all those things. So I really like this option if you have frequent neck stuff, or you're on a computer looking down. I look down quite a bit in doing body work. So that's a component that adds to it. You know, we get imbalanced based on our daily positions that we're holding. One other plug I'm going to give here regarding sleep positions, because they are near and dear to my heart and can be life-changing in terms of pain, is when you are sleeping. If you are on your side, okay, just look at my profile here of my head and neck, right? So I'm moving forward and back, also tilting forward and back, okay? Those are different movements. And when you're sleeping on your side, make sure you're not getting that head forward, right? Many of us know about forward head posture, reading, looking, driving, okay? We get stuck here. We want to retract that, try and get the ears over the shoulders. Same thing when we're sleeping on our side, right? You can see how much better if I'm sleeping, my neck is stacked, retracted, those muscles can be at rest, versus, oh, I'm in the fetal position and perpetuating that forward head position. All right, so check me out online, movebetterhealing.com. You can shoot me an email if you have specific questions, or if you have other products that you would like some input on. I may not have it, but I bet I can give you some ideas. Thanks for tuning in.